students, welcome to English class. Today we'll begin with a new chapter from short story The Blue Bead, written by Nora Burke. About the author, Nora Burke was a well-known English novelist and a non-fiction writer famous for her descriptions of life in India during the early 20th century. Her father was a forest officer in India, and her early childhood was spent traveling through the Indian forest, often on the elephant back. So this story, The Blue Bead, is an inspiration from these early experiences of Nora Burke in the Indian forest. About the important characters of this story. The entire setting of the story is in one of the Indian forests. And important characters include Sibia, a poverty-stricken Indian 12-year-old girl. Then the antagonist in this story, or the villainous character of this story, is a mugger crocodile. What is mugger crocodile? A mugger crocodile is a species of freshwater crocodile with short snout found in the Indian subcontinent. Then other important or the other sub-characters includes Sibia's mother and also a Gujar woman. You will come to know more about the relevance of these characters as the story proceeds. Unlike other stories of your short story textbook, this is a little lengthy story. So for your easy understanding, we can divide it into different subtopics as for the development of the plot. Let's check it out. So, the first part of this story deals with the description of the big crocodile or the mugger crocodile. Then, the second part includes description of Sibia's poor life. I told you she is a poverty-stricken girl, a 12-year-old girl. So a good description about Sibia's poor life is expressed here. Then we have Sibia's visit to bazaar. The author again describes the hard life of Sibia. Then she comes to the plot development, that is of the Gujars. Gujars, it's a group of tribal people residing in that forest. Then how the Gujar ladies are related to the river and their way of living near the riverside. Then comes the important character, that is the crocodile attacking the Gujar woman and Sibia attacking the crocodile and saving the Gujar woman. So actually, if you're looking for the plot development, it is all about the crocodile attacking a Gujar woman and role of Sibia, or the role of the main heroine of the story Sibia, thereby helping or saving the Gujar woman. That's all about the development of the story. Even then, author has used a very descriptive style in narrating the story. So in between, we find a lot of description about the crocodile, about the poor life led by Sibia, about a visit to bazaar and the type of commodities sold in the bazaar, the hard life met by Sibia, and also about the way of life led by Gujar tribal ladies. So I told you this is a very lengthy story. So apart from other stories, some of the important features that you can find in this story is, this story is known for its detailed description. Your author gives much importance for describing even minute items in detail. Then a very good picturesque quality is given, or a pictorial quality is there in the story. That is, author gives a very good picturesque description of various items or various animals or characters in the story. And also, another important feature of this story is that here you can find the usage of long and complex sentences. And even some of these long and complex sentences will be not in a very good intelligible level for you. It might confuse you. So these are some of the important features of the story. But if you are dividing the story as per the development of the story points given by me, it would be easy for you to identify the development of plot and thereby getting a good understanding of the story. So first, we'll begin with description of big crocodile. That is how the story starts. When the story begins, the first part of the story, the first 1 to 5 paragraphs of the story is all about description of big crocodile. So let's move ahead. So dear students, let's begin with the story. Blue Bead, written by Nora Burke. From deep water came the crocodile. Out of the black water curve with the whirlpools and into the frill of gold shallows by the stepping stone. So the author is giving a very good description about the crocodile. From deep water came the crocodile. The crocodile is coming out from the deep water. Out of black water curve with whirlpools and into the frill of gold shallows by the stepping stones. So the crocodile is coming out from the black water. Curve with whirlpools. There were many whirlpools in the water. You know what's meant by whirlpools. And into the frill of gold shallows by the stepping stone. And now it is moving ahead to the gold shallows, to the golden shore or the sandy shore by the stepping stones. He was twice the length of a tall man. So here the author is giving a very good description about the crocodile. How the author describes the crocodile starts from here. He was twice the length of a tall man, and inside him, among the stones which he had swallowed to aid digestion, rolled a silver bracelet. So what the author says about the crocodile is that it was twice the length of a tall man. The crocodile was twice the length of a tall man. And inside him, that is inside the stomach of the crocodile, among the stones which he had swallowed to aid digestion, rolled a silver bracelet. So the crocodile, what he feeds or what are the items the crocodile is contained in the stomach of crocodile is mentioned here. That is, in the stomach of crocodile there are few stones, and it is said that the crocodile swallows these stones in order to help in digestion. Apart from that, they also rolled a silver bracelet. Timber was being floated down this great Indian river from the forest further up, and there were sleepers lying stuck around the stones until someone came to dislodge them and send them on their way, or until floods lifted them and jostled them along. So, the feature of Nora Burke's story, that is long and complex sentence, that is seen here. A very lengthy sentence is here. Timber was being floated down the great Indian river from the forest further up. So what one can find in this river is that there were many timbers floating in the river. Down the great Indian river from the forest further up. From where did this timber come into the river? It is from the forest further up. From maybe the forest is a little highland, or it is a little raised area. From the forest, usually people used to float timber into this river, and there were sleepers lying stuck around the stones until someone came to dislodge them. So what is contained in the river? There are few timbers floating in the river, and also there were sleepers. You know what sleepers? Sleepers, it is heavy pieces of wood which is usually found on the railway tracks, and so which is used for building the railway tracks. On those days it was made of wooden logs, or we call it as sleepers. There were sleepers lying stuck around the stones until someone came to dislodge them and send them on their way, or until floods lifted them and jostled them along. So what one can find in this river where the crocodile is residing is few timbers floating here and there, and also few sleepers. And according to author, these sleepers will lie in this river until someone come to dislodge. Dislodge means to move it and send them on their way and send them to its destination points where it is required, or until floods lift them and jostle them along. Or if no one comes to take this sleeper from this river. How the sleeper can get dislodged from the river or can move from the river is because of the action of the flood. Or until flood, or when the flood comes, it will be jostle them and jostle them along. It will be moved by the flooded waters. The crocodile had no need to hide. The crocodile had no need to hide himself. Now the author is again describing about the crocodile. What author says about the crocodile is that the crocodile had no need to hide himself. Crocodile, being a reptile belonging to the river, being its own ecosystem or being its own home, the crocodile, there was no need for crocodile to hide himself. He came to rest in the glassy shallows among logs and balanced there on tiptoe on the rippled sand, with only his raised eyes out of water and raised nostrils breathing the clean sunny air. So the crocodile had no need to hide himself because it is a creature belonging to that river. He came to rest in the glassy shallows. So the crocodile is coming out from the black water of the river to the glassy shallows among logs. It came near where the logs were there and balanced there on tiptoe. It was moving in a tiptoe pattern on the rippled sand, with only his raised eyes out of the water. And what one can see about the crocodile from that river is only the raised eyes out of water. Only the eyes were raised out of water and raised nostril breathing the clean sunny air. Only raised eyes and raised nostrils could be seen outside the water. Around him, broad sparkling water travelled between cliffs and grass and forested hills. So what one could find in and around that river? Around him, broad sparkling water travelled between cliffs and grass and the forest hills. A jungle track came out of scrub each side and down to the sun whitened stepping stones on which a little flycatcher was flirting and trilling along. Author is giving a very good description about the vicinity of that river. That is, there is cliffs, grass and forested hills around. A jungle track came out of scrub each side and down to the sun whitened step stones on which a little flycatcher was flirting and trilling along. A jungle track came out of scrub. What is jungle track? Jungle track means the path to walk in jungle. Then it came out of scrub each side and down to the sun whitened stepping stone. What is stepping stone? Stepping stone means Stepping stone, it means the raised stones used singly or in series as a place on which to step when crossing stream or muddy area. Then flycatcher, it's a type of it's a bird which catches small insects and trilling along. So another scene that one can find in that area is there is a jungle track, and then there is a stepping stone, and nearby one could find a bird flirting around trying to catch the insects. So entering into a detailed description about the crocodile. The mugger crocodile, black, brown above and yellow, white under, lay motionless, able to wait forever. So now author is giving this description about the antagonist of the story, or the main villainous character of the story, that is the crocodile. It is a mugger crocodile. Meaning of mugger crocodile I have given you before. It's a type of Indian crocodile. And what's the color of this mugger crocodile? It is blackish brown and yellowy white under. On the top, the color of the crocodile is blackish brown and below it is yellowy white. It lay motionless. It was laying as if dead or motionless and was able to wait forever till the food came. And according to author, this mugger crocodile will lay so motionless till food come, till it gets a prey to feed. This antediluvian saurian, this prehistoric juggernaut, ferocious and formidable, was force in water, propelled by unimaginable and irresistible power of huge tail, lay lapped by ripples, a throb in his throat. So, how this mugger crocodile was lying in the water? Or what are the terms used by author to describe this mugger crocodile? This antediluvian saurian. Author used this particular adjective to describe this mugger crocodile. Antediluvian saurian, meaning very old, as if belonging to the time of biblical flood. That is, it's a very old crocodile. Maybe it is more than 100 years old. That's why it's described as antediluvian saurian. That is very old, as if belonging to the time of biblical floods or so, born long years before. This prehistoric juggernaut. Another adjective used to describe the crocodile is prehistoric juggernaut. Prehistoric juggernaut meaning something which has its existence from very old times. That is what we mean by prehistoric. And juggernaut. Juggernaut means huge and powerful and moving with overwhelming force that cannot be stopped. That is, it's a very huge and powerful creature moving with great force which cannot be stopped by anyone. So, this antediluvian saurian, this prehistoric juggernaut, ferocious and formidable. Then, again, author says that it is a ferocious and a formidable creature, a very big creature, a vast force in water because it is huge size, it is a great force in water, propelled by unimaginable and irresistible power. It has got unimaginable and irresistible power. No one can resist it. Such a powerful creature it is. Of huge tail, and also it has got huge tail. Lay lapped by ripples, a throb in its throat. And also there is a throb in its throat. One can feel the throb in its throat. His mouth, running almost the whole length of his head, was closed and fixed in an evil bony smile, and where the yellow underside came up to it, it was tinged with green. Now the author is describing the mouth of the crocodile. His mouth running almost the whole length of his head. So the size of mouth, according to author, it is the size of its head itself. It has got the full length of its head. Was closed and fixed in that evil bony smile. So at that moment, the mouth of the crocodile was closed and fixed, and it was giving an author felt as if it was giving an evil bony smile outside. And where the yellow underside came up to it, it was tinged with green. And up to the area, before author said that the upper part of the crocodile had got a blackish brown color and the lower part is yellowy white in color. So till the area where the mouth of the crocodile, till that yellowish underside, it was tinged with green. It had a greenish shade. The topmost part of the crocodile, the below under part of the crocodile, from the mouth till the neck region, from where the yellowish color starts, it had the shade of tinged green color. From a day perhaps 100 years ago, when the sun had anched him in a sandbank, and he had broken his shell and got his head out and looked around, ready to snap at anything before he was even fully hatched. From that day, when he had at once made for the water, ready to fend for himself immediately, He had lived by his brainless craft and ferocity. So, author is telling from which time onwards or when did this crocodile become so ferocious? Was it so right from its birth, or did it learn this habit later in its life? So, what the author says is that from the day, perhaps 100 years ago, perhaps maybe hundreds of years ago, it might have got birth. Perhaps 100 years ago, when the sun had hatched him in the sandbank. Maybe hundred of years ago, one day, this crocodile might have got hatched in near the sandbank, and he had broken his shell. It came out of its shell and got its head out and looked around. So once it came out of the shell, what as any other creatures will do is that it will come out of the shell, it will put its head out face and look around, ready to snap at anything before he was even fully hatched. So right from the time of birth itself, before it was fully hatched itself, just at the moment it has put its head out of the shell, from that moment onwards itself, it was in such a power, or it was in such a condition to snap at anything, to fight with anything, before it was fully hatched itself. From the day when he had at once made for water, ready to fend for himself immediately, he had lived by his brainless craft and ferocity. So once it is born, it has started its journey, or it had started its work. On the day when it had once made for water, so the day when it started its journey in water, or when it has once made for the water, ready to fend for himself immediately, ready to live for himself immediately. He had lived by his brainless craft from that day onwards itself. He had been living using the brainless craft. Brainless craft means using one's own wit or intelligence or craft and ferocity. And it is said to be brainless because it is not something which it is developing by itself, it is something which it has got by natural instinct. Brainless craft means using one's own and ferocity which is guided purely by natural instinct. That is, by birth itself, it is a ferocious creature. And it had been living in this water right from the moment it got hatched, using the brainless craft and ferocity. Escaping the birds of prey and great carnivorous fishes that eat baby crocodiles, he has prospered, catching all the food he needed and storing it till putrid in holes in the bank. So how the crocodile had been living right from its birth. Author describes it as so: escaping the birds of prey and great carnivorous fishes. Right from its birth itself, it had been trying to escape. There was no one to guide it or guard it. So as a result, it was by its own escaping from various birds of prey and great carnivorous fishes. When it was a small baby, there were many carnivorous fishes trying to prey or have it. So it was trying to save himself from the birds of prey and carnivorous fishes that eat baby crocodiles. He has prospered. So it had been living by escaping from all these predators. He has prospered. He has prospered means he has adapted or lived, catching all the foods he needed. He had lived, or he had flourished by catching all the food he needed and storing it till putrid. Putrid means till it became stale. Putrid means stale or become bad, very unpleasant, in the holes in the bank. So once it gets food, it will be storing in the holes of the bank. After what time it will store in the holes of the bank is still the food item become very unpleasant to taste. It becomes very bad. Tepid water to live and plenty of rotten food grew him in great length. So, what were the items required for its survival there? It was tepid water. Tepid water means lukewarm water, and plenty of rotted food, and also it needed rotten food items. So, by having these rotten food items and the lukewarm water to survive, it has developed or it has grown to its full length as you find today. Now, nothing could pierce the inch thick armored hide. Now, what's the condition of this crocodile? Now, it has grown up to that extent that nothing could pierce the inch thick armored hide. Inch thick armored hide means very thick skin or protective skin. Armored means protective. Not even rifle bullets which would bounce off. Even the rifles or the bullets cannot kill the crocodile. Only the eyes and soft underarms offered a place. So, if you want to kill the crocodile, where you need to attack is on its most tender and the softest part of the body, that is the eyes and the soft underarms. Only if you attack these two parts of the crocodile's body, you can kill it. Otherwise, nothing is going to happen to it. He lived well in the river, sunning himself half sometimes with the other crocodiles. So, how the crocodile made its living or passed its time is he lived in the river, sunning himself sometimes. Most of the time, one could find him sunning in the hot sun or making himself warm by sunning in the sun with other crocodiles, muggers, as well as long-snouted fish-eating gharials. On warm rocks and sandbanks where the sun dried the clay on them quite white, and where they could plop off into water in a moment if alarmed. So, how it passed its living in that river is it used the sun itself along with other muggers and long snouted fish eating gharials. It's also another type of crocodile. On the warm rocks, where it used to lie down in order to sunness on the warm rocks and the sandbanks, sometimes on the rocks or sometimes on the sandbanks, where the sun dried the clay on them quite white, and where they could plop off into water in a moment of alarm. And the benefit, if it is warming or sunning itself near the river sandbank or the warm rock, is that if any predator comes to attack it, it can plop off. Plop off means it can jump off into water in such alarming situation. The big crocodile fed mostly on fish. What is the food of the crocodile? It is fish. But also on deer and monkeys come to drink perhaps a duck or two. But sometimes it used to have deer, monkeys, and sometimes even ducks, whatever came into the water. But sometimes here at the fort, he fed on the pie dogs full of parasites or a skeleton's cow. Not only that, sometimes one could find the crocodile feeding on pie dogs. Pie dogs means stray dogs. Pie dogs and also on the skeleton cow. Parasites or skeleton cow, thin cows. And sometimes he went down to the burning guards. And sometimes, if no food was available, what the crocodile did is the crocodile went down to the burning guards. Burning guards means where the dead bodies are burnt. The place where dead bodies are burnt. And found the half-burned bodies of Indians cast into the stream. Sometimes, in order to satisfy its hunger, it even fed on the half-burned bodies of Indians. Half-burned bodies of the Indians, of the human beings, cast into the stream, which was thrown into the stream, into the river. Beside him in shoals, as he lay waiting, glimmered a blue gem. And another scene that one could find in this river near the river side is that beside him in shoals, as he lay waiting, glimmered a blue gem. So near him one could find a blue gem glimmering because of the sunshine. So that's all about the description given about the crocodile. So in the next class we will discuss in detail about what that blue gem is and also about the remaining part of the plot. Hope you have understood. So till then, till we meet again, goodbye.